Yo, 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 what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA to the Galaxy Pod presented to you by DSM Media, as well as your host, myself, the Son Reaper himself. You can follow me on X at R2R30111. And you can follow your other host here, my guy, at Scotty Drown, what a guy that is. And the title speaks for itself, man. The NBA Conference Finals preview. Obviously, last night we had game one of the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. What a game that was. And yeah, we will be talking about the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks series as well. Game one of that tips out tonight. And before we dive into any of that, my guy Scotty, how you doing on this fine Wednesday, my brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you carrying us into the show today, my man. Happy Hump Day, by the way. You mentioned it Wednesday. And I thought, it was funny, man. I thought you was about to say we're gonna preview the Pacers and the Knickerbockers. And I was just thinking, you gotta be very careful with the way you say that Knicker word.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you've seen the stuff with Doris Burke, right?
I did, bro. I did. That's why it came to mind. But that's hilarious. You gotta tread lightly with the Knickerbocker word. It's an interesting term. But yeah, happy Hump Day, brother. I'm happy to be here. And yeah, we missed game one. Obviously, you getting into a new job. I'm getting around to my work schedule, so we're figuring things out here on the pod. But we are here, and we are
here. That's all that matters.
Get you guys ready for the Eastern Conference and the rest of the Western Conference, man. But I'm happy to be here with you, my brother.
Yes, sir, for sure. But let's dive right to it, man. So game one last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Oklahoma City Thunder came away with the win.
Yes, sir.
He tweaked his ankle during this game. There was some concern there because he did pretty much every series in the playoffs thus far. He has kind of tweaked his ankle. The Lakers, against my Warriors, and even last night against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But nonetheless, man, OKC came out with the win, final score 88-114. Initially, what was your takeaways? Anything particular that stood out to you from this game?
Yeah. I definitely, watched a good bit of the game last night. The first half was particularly interesting. The third quarter, it got a little bit rocky for the T-Wolves. But overall, going into this series, I did think that the Oklahoma City Thunder were going to win this series. But I kind of thought that they were very close. Like, it's going to go 7 games. And now, after seeing game one, and mind you, you shouldn't make, hasty determinations off of one game, right? It's in OKC. The T-Wolves, they had a week of rest, but that can go both ways. Like, it can benefit you toward resting, but it can also make you rusty, right? And OKC, they played, I think, on Sunday, they played that game 7, and then they had to run it back right last night. And I thought it was interesting with the scheduling as well. I thought, not very fair to Oklahoma City. They go out there and they blow the T-Wolves out. So I guess the scheduling did not matter, but I just thought it was weird Western Conference starting before the Eastern Conference since the Western Conference finalized later. Aaron Gordon had some interesting comments on the scheduling too, man. And me and you have talked about this on the pod.
We talked about it for sure. Yeah.
So that's interesting in itself. But here's some things I'm going to throw to you, bro, because this is what makes me skeptical of the T-Wolves' chances overall. And I'm speaking in chances here. OKC, they obviously shot better last night. Minnesota, they shot 35% from the field, 29% from the three-point line. So right there, you can say maybe it's just game one. They shot the ball really bad. Ant tweaked his ankle. You move on. The concerning thing for me is that you get an efficient banger type of game from Julius Randle, 28 points, 5 for 6 from the three-point line. He's out there looking confident, efficient, and they still lose this game by 20-plus points. That's concerning. Minnesota had 19 turnovers in this game. That turned into 31 points for OKC versus 15 turnovers for OKC. Only 10 points out of those turnovers for OKC. So 21-point difference in points off of turnovers. OKC fast break points, 12 to Minnesota's 0. OKC points in the paint, 54 to Minnesota's 20. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the shooting. Maybe the T-Wolves went out there last night. They thought they had to hit some threes on the road to beat this Oklahoma City Thunder team. But the conclusion I'm coming to, right? Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Nikhil Alexander-Walker. These guys have to play better for the T-Wolves to have a chance. Not win, but have a chance at winning, because this Oklahoma City team is so deep. I was just looking at their box score from last night. You look down and it's like, man, nobody off the bench really did like too much, but they had like 5 or 6 guys off the bench that contributed, and that's all that they asked for. They don't ask them to come out and score 15 to 20. Just come out and give a contribution, and then we have guys like J-Dub and Shea that can get the job done. Shea didn't even have a good shooting night, man. Got to the free throw line, didn't have a good shooting night. They still win this game by 20-plus points. Dante, Naz, and Nikhil Alexander-Walker in this game, bro. 7 for 36 from the field. That's 19%. 5 for 28 from the three-point line. That's 18%. So obviously, if they play like that, they're not going to win very many games. But the concerning thing is, man, Dante has not shot the ball well at all this whole postseason. Mike Conley, he is what he is, man. He's old, he's washed, he can contribute here and there, but I'll throw this one to you, man. I came away from this game, ultimate takeaway. Why has Terrence Shannon Jr. not been playing? Why has Rob Dillingham not been playing down the stretch for the T-Wolves? I get it. They made it to the Western Conference Finals, but it feels like these guys like Mike Conley, these guys like Rudy Gobert, these guys like Dante DiVincenzo, which I'm not saying take Dante off the court, not by any means.
Right.
But I just wonder, could Rob Dillingham be more impactful than Mike Conley at this point if he already had the experience from the regular season into the postseason? It's too late now. Can't just throw him out there now. But I do wonder, man. But I'll throw it to you, like, moving forward. What do you think the T-Wolves need to do in order to compete or beat this OKC team?
I will say this. I think you kind of hit on the head, like leaning more into the youth a little bit. Like, obviously, you're in the conference finals, and it's kind of a big risk you're taking doing that at this point of the season. But it's like when you're going up against a young team in Oklahoma City, like, what do you have to lose? Like, a lot of those guys over there don't have a ton of playoff experience. Lou Dort, SGA, Isaiah Hartenstein, Caruso, those are like the only guys that's been to the postseason before. So the point I'm trying to make is, like, to your point with the Terrence Shannon Jr., heck, even the Jalen Clark, Rob Dillingham, those young guys, like, what do you kind of have to lose by throwing those guys out there? I mean, you still got your veterans, Rudy Gobert, Julius, Dante, Jaden, Nas, those guys been to the league, enough years now to kind of be considered vets at this point. So, yeah, man, I feel like doing that would kind of get them a boost, running up and down the floor with those young guys and whatnot. So maybe they could try to lean towards that way.
It's an Oklahoma City team that likes to run, to your point. They're using the youth. Like, to your point, the difference is that they've allowed these guys to mature and play over the last 2 seasons, and I think it's painting like a bigger problem on the league. Because I'm looking at the Warriors, for example. Your Warriors with Steve Kerr.
Right.
And some of the issues that y'all have with playing young talent, Jonathan Kuminga disappearing on the bench this postseason. I think it's an issue with the NBA, and I think the teams that are leaning into their youth, the Pacers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think they're reaping the benefits. But all that being said, you got the Knicks, you got the T-Wolves here in the conference finals. They're doing well too. But no, I do. I ultimately think they need to lean into some of the youth to be able to keep up with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, they also, like, one thing I also noticed, like, in the post-game interview, Ed Neville said that, they'll be just fine. And I'm not knocking that. He was basically alluding to, like, the fact that they just miss a lot of open shots. And that could be just the point because, Dante 2 – Nikhil Alexander-Walker 2-9, Dante 3-12, Naz Reid 0-7, Mike Cullen 1-5 from three-point range. So he could have a point in there. But I will say this, though. Here's my concern about all that.
Yeah.
is that you get a performance like you got 28 points from Julius Randle, pretty efficient from the field, and you still lose.
Yeah.
That to me is a problem, for being honest.
What can you
Like,
do differently, right?
yeah, like your second best player on the team, he showed up and showed out, but it's like the others kind of didn't really do anything. Like, not, I mean, like
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert, 3 rebounds, 2 points. Like, that is just kind of crazy. But
Gobert.
nonetheless,
We
man,
haven't
like,
even mentioned McDaniels either. He didn't show up for this either, man. That's
right,
that's the
seven
other part.
points. He fouled out 6 personal fouls. So
I will say something about OKC though, bro. And maybe I didn't notice it against Denver because I don't like Denver. Like we've discussed that enough. We don't have to get into that. Maybe I didn't notice it against them, but OKC they get a crazy whistle, and it's not just SGA. It's on the defensive end as well. The way that their guys sneak up and double team these guys, whether it's in the post, there's a couple times last night where it was maybe J Dub sneaks up behind Ant on a double team, comes up and strips the ball from behind. Any other team does this shit, bro. They're getting called for fouls. like I get it. You get part of the ball and you get part of the arm too, and we can say hands part of the ball, whatever, blah blah blah. It's when the other team is doing the same exact thing and getting called for fouls. You see McDaniels get fouled out of this game. I will say they get a very favorable whistle for sure.
that's not hard
SGA
to
included.
that's not hard to believe though, honestly. Especially like when your best player SGA he gets to the line
Yeah.
so effortlessly, like
Yeah.
so.
He's mastered it.
Yeah, for sure. But nonetheless, man, that's game one. We'll see how this thing go, man. Game two tips off what it is, Thursday? Or is it Friday?
Game 2, I want to say it is. Yeah, it's Thursday. Yeah, they only get a night off in between games. Yeah, that's even when they go back to Minnesota, man. Because the game 3. Well, no, game 3. Does it change in the comp? No, it changes in the finals where it starts to go 3-2-3. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but nonetheless, game 3 in Minnesota is on Saturday, so they're only getting a day in between, regardless of travel, all of that. Which I think that once again speaks to what Aaron Gordon and what we've talked about on here, as far as just not giving these players like appropriate rest. I think something that they could have done earlier in the postseason is maybe not put multiple games on one night and spread them out. Put one game on per night, or maybe it's 2 games max. Whatever the case may be. Let me ask you this though: going forward, who do you have in this series, or how many games do you see this series going?
I think OKC ultimately wins. That was my pick. I think they get it done in 6. But I will say this though, from the T-Wolves side of things, if Julius Randle can sustain this level of play, man, and to your point, if the others can kind of just chip in and knock down their shots and do this and
Yeah,
do that, and the Timberwolves might can potentially steal this series themselves. So
yeah.
yeah,
I
but
think
ultimately I like the Thunder though for sure.
it heavily depends on Anthony Edwards' like true health, not him playing through an ankle tweak, but like, is he confident enough in his own health to attack the rim the way we know that Ant Edwards likes to, the way he likes to get up and down the court? That's what I'm gonna keep my eye on going forward, along with the other guys. But I'm with you. I think this is one we agree on. Unfortunately for the listeners out there, I got OKC in 6 as well, man. I was gonna say 7, but I'm going 6 after game 1.
Yeah.
Where you want to take it next, man?
Yeah, that's pretty much it on that side of things. Shifting it over to the Eastern Conference, man. Today, game 1, Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks, man. There's a lot of history between these two teams over the past 25 plus years, man. Like you go back to John Sparks and Reggie Miller. Those
Yeah, yeah,
guys. Yeah. So there's a lot of history, man. Patrick
crazy.
Ewing and all those guys. But even like Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton, I don't know if you've seen, but they was on WWE last year. They was kind of, yeah. Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that's so cool, bro. Because like I grew up on WWE, so like I feel like I would do that too if I was an NBA player. Go hop on there.
Yeah. But nah, man. Game one, man. So like, who you have like ultimately winning this game? Like, well, first, I should start off like, who do you have winning the series and in how many games? Let's start off right there.
Okay, yeah. Start off. I think this series is going 7. I think
Okay.
this is a highly competitive. Like the matchups are, I won't say perfect, but they're really good. Like there was a couple of these matchups that I had a hard time choosing between, and we can go through that in a little bit here. But I am gonna go with the Pacers in this one.
Oh,
Um,
we start to agree too much, bro.
I know, I know. I'm going with the Pacers in 7, which I think if you pick a series to go 7, you're almost saying it's anybody's series in a
Yeah, it's a
sense.
toss up for sure. It's a toss
You
up.
know what I mean? So it's like, are we
Toss up.
really picking the Pacers if it goes 7 and the Knicks win game 7? It is what it is. But I just think the Pacers have a little bit too much. I'm kind of picking them for the similar reasons to OKC, right? Is the depth and the guys that they can bring off the bench.
Yeah.
And I just look at New York's bench, and I think if this series goes 7,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be digging in deep into a bench that does not exist for them. And,
It is
you
true.
know, Deuce McBride, he stepped up heavy for them in that Boston
Yeah.
series. Mitchell Robinson
Mitchell Robinson,
stepped up
yeah.
heavily in that
He pretty
Boston
solid.
series.
Pretty solid.
Who else is going to step up, though?
Yeah, it's not enough though. Obi Top and TJ McConnell, like, it's not enough to keep up with those
Obi
guys.
Toppin versus old team?
Interesting. But nah, man, I feel you on that though. Like, obviously, I got the Pacers to get it done. I got them in 6 though. Like,
Okay.
here's the number one thing that stood out to me. We both, I've alluded to this numerous of times. The Indiana Pacers, they like to get up and down the court, they like to push the pace, run and whatever. And if I'm being honest, bro, I think that's going to be a problem for the New York Knicks. The reason I say that is because their starters play like 40 minutes. Like all those guys play like,
Nightly. Yeah.
yeah, nightly on a night to night basis.
Yeah.
So just imagine like the wear and tear that's put on those guys' bodies over the course of a potential 7 game series or whatever the case may be. Like they're going to feel the effect of that.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And to your point, the bench, man, I just think that Indiana has too many weapons over there offensively. You know, they got guys that can score in bunches, numerous ways. I allude to Obi Top and TJ McConnell, you know,
Yeah.
as well as the other guys that got off the bench, Ben Shepherd. The list can go on and on. But I just think that they have too much offensive firepower for those guys to kind of match for sure. So, yeah, man, I like Indiana in this series. I think they get it done in 7 as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I feel it. I feel it. Let me ask you this about Indiana. Do you think that Tyrese Halliburton can outshine or meet Brunson at the level that Brunson's going to play at in this series? And then just a caveat to the question, does he need to for Indiana to win?
I think he could definitely meet him. I don't think he could kind of surpass him in that aspect due to the simple fact like Brunson to me is more he solidified himself the past couple of years as one of those clutch players who can go out
Yeah.
there and make big time shots when needed. So Tyrese Halliburton, he has done that though. He had a game winner in the Cleveland series. He's getting
Yeah.
there, but Brunson, man, he's been kind of been doing it for the past couple plus years. So I don't want to disrespect him in that aspect. So I think he got kind of ways to go before he just surpassed him, but he could definitely get there for sure. So yeah, to answer your second question, do he need to? I don't think so, man. The reason I say is because when you look at guys like a Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner,
Yeah.
I think that those guys kind of get overlooked due to the simple effect of the way they play their roles on the team. They're not just demanding the ball. They just
Yeah.
kind of let their offense come within the flow of it. They're not just forcing shots up and things like that. So
Yeah.
I don't think Tyrese Halliburton have to just shoot, I don't know, 18 shots a night just for these guys to win. He can just do the other things he has been doing, such as playmaking, being that vocal leader for
Yeah.
this team. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Like, you can call Jalen Brunson the focal point of the New York Knicks offense, and that's because
Right.
he's going to give you 30. He'll give you 6 to 10 assists. He's gonna fill the box sheet. Tyrese Halliburton is more of like the connector piece for the offense for Indiana. It's not that he's the focal point. He can be the focal point, especially when they have that pick and roll going and he's dishing the ball around. but he's a connector piece. He doesn't have to have the ball in his hands. He can be a spot up shooter. He can be a rebounder. He can drive the lane. He just does what the team needs in that said game. So they're very different players. They're both elite. I like your point about Pascal Siakam specifically, and this is another question I wanted to bring to you.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if the Knicks play the T-Wolves in the NBA Finals, I mean that's crazy. Cat versus the T-Wolves and Randall versus the Knicks. I mean,
that would be
two teams that passed on those said players, bro. Like that would be
what
wild.
a storyline that would be, though.
Yeah, it kind of makes you want to see it just to see those guys go at it. But it begs this question for me, man. Who do you trust more in this Eastern Conference Finals series? Pascal Siakam or Karl Anthony Towns? Who do you expect to have a bigger impact in this series?
Well, truth be told, bro, you can never overlook a champion, disrespect a champion. So I got to go with Pascal Siakam. He's been there, done that. He knows what it takes. He's so poised under pressure. I will say this, though. There has been a lot of times, to be more exact, during this playoff run, where I see him kind of settle too much. And I think he needs to be better with that, just knowing that who's, like, when there's certain matchups that's guarding him, he has to exploit that. Like, he can't just let them, get by or whatever. So, if I had to choose, I would definitely say Spicy P for sure. He's been there, done that, so he knows what it takes to us to get a team over the hump. So, yeah, no disrespect to Karl Towns. He's been doing a pretty good job in his role with the Knicks, but if I had to pick, I definitely got to go Pascal.
Yeah, I like the pick, man. I think Karl Anthony Towns, while he has been better with the Knicks, he showed signs of improvement throughout this postseason.
It is true.
He still does have the track record that follows him from Minnesota and some of the games this postseason so far where he's completely disappeared. Whereas Pascal, kind of the same point as Tyrese Halliburton. Like, if Pascal's not filling the scoring department up, if he's not scoring 20-plus points, he can fill the box sheet up with assists, he can rebound, and he's going to defend. Who do you think matches up with Pascal from New York? You think do they go hard or do they go OG?
For sure, it got to be OG.
It's got to be, right? The familiarity.
Yeah, they were teammates. I'm pretty sure they go out and practice a lot. And OG 6'7", about 240, 230. So it makes too much sense to put a guy like OG on that.
You could throw hard, I guess, on Neesmith.
Yeah, you can put hard on Neesmith. Yeah.
And then
put Mikal on Tyrese, Brunson on them hard, and Turner on Cat on Turner. So. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. This is an interesting thought to me, man. And, I'm not even trolling Jalen Brunson, but, like, obviously on the defensive side of things, you have to try your best to kind of hide him in a sense. And it's not to say he doesn't try on defense. I'm not saying that. He's smaller. Like, it's harder for him to defend. You throwing Brunson on them hard? Like I know what Tyrese Halliburton is, but he can turn into a stationary, like, spot-up shooter. So, like, when I look at Nembhard, he's got, like, a bag. Like, he can get into his bag and get his own shot. Not that Halliburton can. I just feel like Nembhard, is that insulting to say that he could get his shot better than Halliburton? Like, I'm not trying to insult Halliburton.
Not really, bro. Nembhard got game. He really does. Like, I've alluded to this a billion times. Like, Nembhard, that says a lot about the Indiana Pacers that they're running the offense through him to close the game instead of Pascal and Tyrese. Yeah. So they have that level of trust in him.
Am I taking it too far saying that he has a little bit of Brunson in his game? And mainly the mid-range, not necessarily the driving aspect, I would say.
He is a high-value mid-range shooter. I would get that to him. So.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how these matchups go. You're going to get Miles Turner on Cat, which is a hell of a matchup, too. That's like an underrated matchup.
It is. It is. Because most people think of Miles Turner for, like, his defense, but offensively, he's the guy that can go out there and get you 16, potentially even 18 a night. So, yeah, but game one, man, tips out tonight. What's the spread on the game? Is it minus 4.5?
That is correct. Yeah, New York Knicks, 4.5-point favorites. Knicks did go 2-1 against the Pacers in the regular season, but I think that's the difference, man. It's obviously regular season.
Right.
But like the Knicks can win game 1 tonight, and they're at home. They should, right? Like it's just the stretch of a 7-game series that I feel is different. Like playing the Pacers again on Friday, and now you're a little bit more tired. Pacers are still ready to run with their bench. You bring in Benedict Mathurin off the bench, bringing Obi Toppin off the bench, and bringing TJ McConnell off the bench. I think they wear on you as the series goes, which is why that regular season record just does not matter. But who do you think grabs this one, man? Game 1 specifically.
So the Knicks is hosting this, right? Or is it the Pacers?
Knicks, yeah, the Knicks are hosting this one. They were the 2 or the 3 seed.
Game 1. I think New York. I think they still game 1. Well, I would say still because they're home, but I think they take game 1 for sure. I mean, it's the first time these guys reached the conference finals in over 25 years, 20 years, something like this. So
the crowd's gonna be on fire.
You know the fans are going to go crazy. To be more exact, Spike Lee. I mean, these guys have so many celebrities that be sitting courtside. So I expect those guys to show up and show out. So I see New York taking game 1 for sure.
I can see it, man. It's like I don't want to pick the same as you again. I think the Knicks have to win this one. And I say that because if I think this series is going 7, Knicks do need to take care of some business at home. Whereas if you lose game 1, that could turn this series upside down, man. So, yeah, they come out.
They can, for sure.
They're fresh, right? Get a little bit of a break in between that Boston series, and now they'll come out on point tonight. I think you'll get a big game from Brunson. Maybe Cat comes out with hella energy. I think they get the W, and I think these will be competitive games, but that Pacers depth is just going to weigh on them as this series goes on. They'll take this one tonight, though. I'll roll with you, Slim. We're on the same page today. Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with it, bro. Like, two basketball minds agree.
Yeah, we joke a lot, but we know ultimately we agree more so than none. I say so.
Let me ask you this: who's winning game 2? T-Wolves in OKC tomorrow.
I got the Timberwolves. The reason I said I think they'll make the proper adjustments for sure. So, yeah, I got the Timberwolves bouncing back. If not, then things are not going to be looking too good for them. So, yeah.
Is that a must win? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I feel it.
You can't go down 0-2 going back home, bro.
Not to the Thunder. Yeah. It's different with other teams, but not to the Thunder. I do agree with you there, man. So hopefully Ant comes out and gives us a show tomorrow night, man.
Yeah, but, for sure.
This one should be fun tonight. These are two great, scoring offenses. I would love to see some high scoring tonight, man, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else though before we get out of here, bro?
Nah, that's pretty much it, bro. I will say this: I just came with a fun idea. So the kid NBA MVP gets announced tonight. So what we'll do?
Yeah,
I'll just in the group chat or just personal or whatever. I'll just have you text your pick, and then I text my pick, and then I screenshot it. And then when we hop on the next pod, when I do the TikTok, I just post like who you had winning and who I had winning.
Yeah,
so we'll just kind of discuss like who won it and why they deserved it and things like that. So
I like that. That's a good idea. Maybe pod on Friday. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right,
for sure.
We'll see how it goes, but
yeah. But I mean, make sure you guys follow my guy Scotty Drown, man, a living legend here. We got to get this dude his flowers, but this man has come a long way until today, man. He's constantly being consistent with the pod, bro. Not only this pod, his pod as well, his brother Dylan over there. So make sure you guys go subscribe to the DSM Media YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. I mean, why not help us grow? I mean,
yes, sir.
We giving you guys great content. Show us love just like we're showing you guys love. So make sure you guys follow me as well on X at R2R30111. And like my guy Scotty just said, we will be back Friday if the Lord say the same. So that's the goal. And man, with that being said, we out. Peace.
Peace, everybody.